The fires in the orc camp had been extinguished. The ground was strewn with the corpses of orcs. The mercenaries were cleaning up the battlefield, even stripping the leather armor from the orcs' bodies and piling the corpses to be burned. If they came across any who weren't quite dead, they would finish them with a sword thrust. No one found it cruel. The war between humans and orcs had raged for nearly 10,000 years, and the hatred fused into their bloodlines made the slaughter seem like a matter of course. Angus, how are the men? All right. We have 1 seriously wounded and 4 with light injuries. It's just a shame that She-Panther got away, the hunter replied without lifting his head as he wrapped a bandage around his arm. Forget it. We're lucky we didn't lose any brothers, Kane said, still feeling a lingering fear when he recalled the lioness's final desperate attack. That She-Panther was really something. If we'd caught her and gotten her into bed, damn, just thinking about it is exciting. Tony, who had been nowhere to be seen during the entire battle, popped up from out of nowhere. You Tony? You can't even handle the girls at the Nightingale bar and you want to take on a female orc? Be careful she doesn't snap that little thing of yours in two. Angus's teasing of Tony elicited a burst of coarse laughter from the mercenaries cleaning the battlefield. Tony, however, paid it no mind, a wide, undisguised smile on his face. Boss, we've got a big haul. With a wave of his hand, several mercenaries dragged over a dozen young orcs, all tied together in a line. Some of the small cubs bared their teeth and tried to resist, but a single lash of a whip sent them to the ground, wailing incessantly. Keynes's eyes immediately lit up. Go easy on them. These little ones are valuable. Killing one means losing at least several dozen gold coins. Many human nobles enjoyed keeping orc guards to display their wealth and power. Some noblewomen even privately acquired them as playthings for the bedroom. As for the reason besides a taste for the exotic, it was naturally because an orc's equipment was more impressive than a human man's. Adult orc warriors were stubborn and volatile, refusing to submit even when captured, whereas young orcs were much easier to train and tame. Thus, many nobles preferred to buy young orc slaves to raise from childhood. The moment they appeared on the market, they became a hot commodity sought after by countless nobles and wealthy merchants, their price on the slave market second only to elven women, with rarer clans being even more valuable. Boss, you think this one's got to be worth 1,000 gold coins? Tony said, yanking Leon, who was at the front of the line, forward. Oh, what a surprise. This little lion didn't get away either. Keynes crouched down and lifted Leon's chin with a finger. Leon's eyes were blood red, filled with hatred. It was these very humans who had killed his mother. A faint golden light suddenly erupted from Leon's hands, snapping the rope that bound them, and he lunged at Keynes with his claws. But the instant Leon moved, a large hand clamped around his neck, and no matter how much he struggled, he couldn't budge. Just as Leon was about to be choked to death, Keynes threw him to the ground. A grave expression appeared on Keynes's face. Tony, for such a valuable little one, you should have tied him up more securely. Captain, there's another one here worth only a single gold coin. What should we do with him? A mercenary asked, pulling the skinny Arthur from the line. Compared to the sought-after young orcs, a useless human boy slave was naturally worthless. Keynes had noticed this strange boy in the orc camp during the day and found it incredible that he had been able to defeat the little lion, who was nearly a level 1 warrior. Keynes lifted Arthur's chin as well, though his movement was much gentler. Arthur looked up, revealing a smiling face and a set of snow-white teeth. Although his body was covered in mud and his hair was a mess, his face was washed clean and his gaze was even purer. What's your name and how old are you? Captain, my name is Arthur and I'm 12. Keynes was taken aback. How did you know I'm the captain? Isn't that what all the mercenary big brothers call you? Keynes laughed. You're clever. Why were you in an orc camp? Our village was attacked by orcs 2 years ago. My mother was killed and I was abducted to the orc camp as a slave. You're lying. Tony suddenly grabbed Arthur by the collar, glaring at him fiercely. Orcs have no need for human children as slaves. In fact, some orc nobles prefer to eat human children. Also, while you're a bit skinny, you don't look like a slave should. How do you explain this leather armor? Tony, you'll scare him like that, Adeline couldn't help but interject. The boy's smile seemed to have a magical charm that made her believe everything he said. Arthur shot Adeline a grateful look. Don't worry, beautiful and respected lady. You won't scare me. I've seen orcs far more ferocious than this. You've got a sweet mouth, Tony said, realizing his tactic had failed and slowly released his grip. The reason I'm alive is because I still had value. The mistress wanted a human opponent for her son, so he could better understand his enemy, Arthur explained slowly. The mistress? That lioness? Keynes asked. Arthur lowered his head sadly. Actually, the mistress was very good to me. If it weren't for her, I would have become food for some orc long ago. Leon, still lying on the ground, suddenly looked up, a look of surprise in his eyes as he glanced at Arthur. Untie him, Keynes said loudly. He's not a slave here with us. Thank you. Arthur bowed to Keynes, Adeline, Tony, and even the mercenary who untied him. Keynes laughed and waved his hand, continuing to direct the other mercenaries to quickly clean the battlefield, not letting go of anything with even a little value. Are you really going to haul back all this shabby leather armor and these orc weapons? Adeline, who had been following Keynes, couldn't help but complain in a low voice. Every little bit counts. We can at least get a few gold coins back by selling them to a weaponsmith for scrap. You don't know the cost of things when you aren't the one paying the bills. Do you know how many mouths I have to feed? Besides, we misjudged this time. Aside from these cubs, this noble camp had nothing valuable at all. Adeline's one complaint was met with an endless stream of grumbling from Keynes. What are you going to do with that boy? Adeline suddenly asked quietly. Let's take him back to the city for now. He's an interesting little fellow, that's for sure. Keynes's gaze swept over to Arthur, who was already helping with the cleanup. In a very short time, Arthur had already blended in with the mercenaries, helping them collect valuables from the orc bodies. Keynes could perhaps never have imagined that this very decision, born of curiosity, would change the original trajectory of the history of the Berland Continent.